guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Kim, and today we're going to be doing a reading for the Pleiadians and the Mintakans, their energies combined, because I did get a request for both and I felt that they need to be combined. That's just the message that I got. So we're going to pull some cards for both the Pleiadians and the Mintakans. And I did get a message within my Syrian reading that they are working together. So the Orions, which are the Mintakans, and the Pleiadians are working together along with the Syrians at this time. It'll be interesting to see what comes through, and I was just drawn to this deck right away, so I'm going to trust that, but we're going to pull a couple of spreads to see what comes through. And when I've been channeling in and like just feeling the energies, there's this huge sense of like a merging and quickening of energies, like a huge quickening of energy. That's just so overwhelming to the point where it's just, I know something big is going to happen, and there are, you know, really big things happening right now, in many different aspects and layers of not only the cosmos, but the earth and so just a lot of cyclic patterns just playing out. I feel as a species, honestly, we've already won. Like the light has won, the love has won. That, you know, the words of, you know, new earth is already here in a sense does prevail, because, and does make sense, because we are combining a multitude of timelines right now. And it's all based on the human concept of perceptions and the different perceptions that we are tapping into, which is helping different things gain momentum, and is both, I would say before was haltering us, but now it's definitely propelling us forward even more. So there's just this speeding, like this huge quickening of information being given to us. Lost lands being discovered. Like a lot of people aren't realizing that there's like these huge lands that are being discovered right now. I know my friend Indigo Angel talks a lot about it with the discoveries that they found on Antarctica with its melting of the surface area. But also, not only that, like there was just a huge land discovered in South Africa. I'm going to insert the name of it here, but it's this huge landmass that they never even knew was there, that they just discovered. So it's like these ancient lands and discoveries coming to the surface. There's just a quickening of things happening. You know, the pole shifts happening. There's a quickening of there. I'm going to link a bunch of articles down below, because there's just a bunch of stuff happening at such a huge and massive level that it's like almost hard for just a normal person to keep up with, let alone someone who's here as a starseed doing the research for you to keep up with everything. It's not even funny how much is being brought to the forefront and brought to the perceptualized focus of just one individual human mind or starseed mind or galactic mind but it's like all these timelines are playing out, and it's just so insane. So yeah, so one of the things is with the sun. The sun is at a critical mass right now. It's lost the sunspots on the surface, and it's causing a lot of cosmic rays to be thrown through the atmosphere because of the throw off of its the magnetism of the sun. And with that, they're saying there could be an ice age on our hands. So it's so funny because we go from the extremes of polarity where they're talking about global climate change and global warming, now to this extreme change of perhaps mini ice age on our hands, which would be about 20 years or so, if it's the same length of time as it was back in, I think it was 1813 they said this happened. And it lasted about 20 years, but it caused extreme famine on the planet because it ruined all the crops. And that's what they're seeing again now. I'll link the term in the description box below because it's late at night. I'm really tired. I'm trying to remember all this information to relay it to you. But yeah, so it's quite a lot. But with this, and I feel like it's so crazy because I was told of this information a while ago. I'm talking like last year, I think. Yeah, a lot going on with our sun. Asha Nadine also talked about this, you know, in her 3-part interview with Carrie Cassidy about the sun going into implosion, and us having to find the ascension portals and grids and spaces to leave off the planet Earth in 200 years, which is going to be pretty soon. And then also, what was I going to tell you? Oh, there was an article that came out just recently also, I think it was actually yesterday, about them discovering a super Earth, which is like a gajillion times our Earth. It's not like a gajillion times, but it's a lot bigger than our Earth. And if we were to reside on it, it's got the same like setup solarly as we do, with the planets orbiting and the sun, the moon. It's almost identical, except it's like an upgraded version of our Earth, which automatically, what do you think of when I say super Earth? Automatically you think of new Earth, right? Technically, in the physicality of this duality, could the super Earth be the new Earth? Maybe. But I honestly feel that the new Earth is more of a totality of perspectives and mindset to what we are trying to create here on the Earth plane now. So it's more of like an etheric, higher dimensional access, where we can access that. But if it goes through in a physical sense where it's wanting to manifest that way, it's interesting that they just discovered that. So I'm throwing that out there. That's in the center of the galaxy right now that they just found. And what else? There was something else. Of course, all the stuff that's going on in the world, and there's just a lot to this. There's also a super huge black hole that they discovered, and this huge bridge between two huge galaxies that's now like the northern pole of that and the southern pole of that, and the bridge is becoming manipulated with that. It's like crooked now. So that's really interesting too. There's like two collisions of two huge galaxies that cause this bridge, and now there's like this hot jet stream of like hot smoke, which is permeating through the bridge, causing it to warp from its natural state. So, and the bridge between the two galaxies holds like 10 of our suns in energy. So if you can think of it like that, how easily it's been being manipulated right now because of this jet stream of hot smoke and air, it's just really, really interesting. So there's just a lot going on. It's like these two galaxies are like fighting over like the polarities of the north and the south, and it's like the pole shift of the earth is also going towards more north, but that's been also distorted from previous lifetimes as well, as that has, but it's just, everything's rapidly increasing right now. That's rapidly increasing. The pole shift's rapidly increasing. The sun headed towards like this mini ice age. That's rapidly increasing. All this information coming to the forefront of 2020, which is 2020 clear seeing, 2020 clear vision, 2020 clear knowing, is being brought to the forefront of like the darker aspects of the duality being brought to the forefront, and it's all being made so readily available if one has eyes to see it and one is doing the research. So especially with Bill Gates and the vaccine that he's trying to force upon the public, and it's not just like me just saying that, like there's literal proof of this. There's proof of the patents of the vaccine before the virus even was brought into a pandemic. There's proof of him speaking on this before the pandemic was even a pandemic or epidemic, which is a pandemic now. But there's just, it's insane. It's just a lot of information. It's just quickening, and it makes no sense. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me because we have the clear seeing, the clear knowing, like the source God seeing consciousness. So I'm putting that into the reading because it does prove a point, and I want to help you guys stay informed. And I feel like Pleiadians are kind of like at the forefront of this because it's interesting because Indigo Angel did do a video on the Pleiadians and the pleomorphic aspects of Bill Gates. So if you guys have not checked out the video, please do, because it was really interesting. It made a lot of sense to me, at least. I think it would resonate with you, and just to hear how that is accumulating with the hybrid extensions of Draconians and Anunnaki into this like pleomorphic, like Pleiadian-ish species that's new, through represented and shapeshifted through Bill Gates, is like the entity that he's got. So that's really interesting, and I'm just throwing that in there, referencing to her video. Please go watch it. But it's interesting. So I'm just giving you different perspectives to look at in order to bring in your own perspective and conclusion into the whole of what's going on. But there's just a lot of information being brought to the surface, brought to the light, and it doesn't surprise me because, like I said, we are in the year of 2020 vision, right? 2020 is 2020 vision. So there is the light warrior, right? Which I have represented in this card. The one that holds the rainbow prophecy, the one that is the indigo, the one that is the transformic butterfly, if you will, from not having a spiritual awakening to having the spiritual awakening, and then being fully here and knowing for a reason to be amped up and prepared for what is about to occur. Then we have this card, which is very dualistic in nature, because we do have the light warriors fighting the dark warriors, and we do have the two peace doves, the doves of peace. And it's like that duality here, the duality of the conflict and then the duality of peace, because we're trying to merge into the new earth energies, which is that of peace and love and unity consciousness. And it's like we're trying to get there. Obviously we're trying to get there. It is here, it is accessible, but we still physically have to do this, because until we can learn, guys, until we can learn how to transmute these energies of not just the energies, but of the actual beings that are behind the darker forces. So not all Draconians are bad, not all Anunnaki are bad, as we know, but they are now doing these hybrid things, and these hybrids are different than what we've experienced in the past, and they're trying to like accelerate this darkness while we're trying to accelerate this lightness. And it's like, it's almost like the cosmos of those two galaxies, the northern and the southern, like at war with one another. And that's how I kind of feel. Like, I know you guys feel it too. Like, it's distorting the polarities, which is maybe why I'm linking it back, and now it's making sense to why the distortion of the pole shifts on Earth are occurring because the same thing's happening in the freaking cosmos. It's like the Lyran wars with the Draconians and the Anunnaki, and like the Pleiadians over here, like on the same side as the Lyrans, trying to it's like the good versus the evil, right? Is it not? But like, is it all good? Is it all evil? No. So there's different aspects to this whole thing. So it's like, yes, you can choose which timeline to take. Yes, you can. You can choose which timeline to perceive. Yes, you can. And it's very strong in doing so, because you can have an effect on the way that this all plays out, because perception is power, right? And we are the creators of our own reality, right? So it's a very crucial time, and it's really important, but there's just a lot being brought to the surface, and there's a lot of energies being dealt with, which is why it's, oh my gosh, and my glasses just came off. So it's like, do not be blinded, do not be blindsided, like do your research, come to your own conclusions, come to your own perspectives, really channel in and see what is coming through you, because what coming through me may not even matter what's coming through you. So it's really like you trusting you, me trusting me, you know, and then hopefully sharing our information together, so that way we can come to a one understanding of the one mind, the mega mind, right? Us all in a conglomeration, working together, unity consciousness, so we can understand source and source can understand us. And it's that unity. There's a lot like we're filling up our cups with, perhaps not always the best things. So it is important to cleanse the energy in the home right now. It's important to cleanse the energy of our auras. It's important to get back to nature. It's important to seek serpent wisdom, our knowledge, our beginning wisdom that was started. But it's like we have to have this certain wisdom about it in a very mature sense of looking at it, to where it's not, okay, this is all bad and this is all good. There's also gray areas, right? And we have to come to a certain point of clarity and understanding of what is actually taking place and going on. Because we have to know that not all Draconians are bad, and not all Anunnakis are bad, and not all Pleiadians are good, and not all Orions are good. We have to know that there is, just like our race, right? We have good and evil intermixed between all the different gray areas, correct? So we have to understand this at a very, like, almost like source perspective, to understand that we can't label all races as either good or bad. But there are evil ones out there, and there are good ones out there. But the evil ones, we are, or the lower vibrational, or the ones with ill intent towards humanity, or even the higher dimensional beings, we have to really come to a conclusion, which would mean we have to understand at a very mature perspective, like a God source perspective, how to go about the whole transmutation process of this. Because as light warriors, we do hold that power of transmutation. A lot of you do, especially if you're here right now during this essential time. A lot of you do hold the power of transmutation, to where you can transmute these forces and you can transmute these beings. The power is there within inside of you, within inside of us. And so this is such a grander scale than what I thought was going to come through this reading. But I'm always surprised by these readings. But they're wanting you to know justice will prevail, because we do have justice in the upright. We already know that we have one, correct? But we're watching it all play out. And in the meantime, while we're in this like intermixing pause of being able to watch this play out, having known our past, having known our future, and then being here in the here and now. And watching it all play out almost like a movie in front of us, we have to be able to use our best perception and judgment and where to inject our light and transmute these energies. So there's so much to it. There's layers upon layers. There's timelines upon timelines. There's parallel realities upon parallel realities. There's perpendicular, and it's so much more. But then we can, I guess, fully grasp on this dense plane of density. But what I'm trying to say is we've already won. We're just watching these old timelines play out, but we do hold a purpose being here, right here and now, especially if you're a light warrior, because you have the abilities, right? You have the psychic abilities of not only being psychically in tune and psychically aware and being able to channel what's actually happening and what's actually going on, but you have the abilities of bilocation, right? If you're a starseed, you have the natural ability of bilocation. You have the natural ability of being able to work with your light body. So it's really, really important to put that focus on there now. If you're not doing that already, a lot of you are doing that already, to where you're sending your light where it needs to go. You're traveling where you need to go. I mean, you're probably doing a lot of this in dream time, where the world seems upside down and you wake up and you can't freaking remember what happened the night before, but you feel like a lot went on. And that's because a lot does go on every single night that you go to bed. Every single night that you go to bed, especially if you're a starseed, you are not just, sleeping. You are doing work on a 3D level, on your own level, with your own body and your own structures, and also in the cosmos, right? So there's a lot playing out, there's a lot going on, but we're kind of watching it all like a movie, but we also have this ability to go into the TV screen, into the movie, and interject where it needs to be. That's why we're here. We volunteered for this. We volunteered because we knew that we were needed. We are the light warriors. We are the light warriors of justice, bringing justice to all timelines, to all situations. And we just have this understanding, this higher understanding of this, to where we know we need to be, to know what our mission is, to know what our purpose is. And we just know it at a soul level. We know what this is, and we know what we have to share and what we have to do while we're here. And if you don't, and you're just starting to realize it, that's okay. And if you don't at all, you will, because this is the year, this is the turning point, this is the acceleration of all of this coming to the forefront, to where it's like so eye-opening, to a point where it's like, how do I put this into human words? I simply can't. Even light language won't do it justice. So it's this knowing of duality, but it's also knowing how to transform this, how to transmute this. It's like the highest alchemy possible, to the highest alchemical degree, in knowing how to transmute these energies, and knowing what to do, and knowing what is going on, and being able to interject where we know we need to, because it's where our soul is showing us and guiding us, and we're just needing to be very trusting of this. Even if you don't know where you're going, even if you don't know what situation or timeline you're in, you're viewing it and you're seeing it and you're witnessing it for a reason. There's a reason, because you were meant to be brought into the awareness of the source perspective, to help source understand and to help us understand source. So it's just like, until we're in the unity consciousness completely, all together as one race, because we are all connected and we all are meant to be as one being, not separate from one another, to hold that source channeling and that much more. Because like, that's why the reason for like the 2020 collaborations that we're all experiencing and going into, and the reason that we're all connecting at such like a deeper level and more quantity level, is because that's the way that source can understand what is happening. So I mean, source already knows, source understands, but for us to be the reflection of source, and for us to understand source the way we can understand it more fully is when we all come together. So before we can all come together as one, we have to be able to understand our own perception of source and have source fully understand ours. And it's that conjoining, which is like us and our higher selves, right? Which is why the mission is so important, which is why everything is made available to see right now, to know, to feel. And when we finally all start coming together, our light shines that much more, and we're able to channel and download that much more, and also put out our light that much more brighter for source to be able to see it and perceive it, and for us to be able to see and perceive source. So when we all come together as one is when we'll have that direct channel to source, which is aka heaven on earth, which is aka new earth. So that's just a huge download that just came through. So this reading is really awesome. And I was not expecting that, but it makes a lot of sense to me, and I know it'll make a lot of sense to you guys as well. Now for your personal, your life is a canvas. You are the god of your reality, right? You are all gods and goddesses. So your life is a literal canvas. So this is really important, because how are you using this power? Okay, what are you creating with knowing now that you hold this power? We all know it, but to really fully grasp it is not just a knowing, but it's a feeling, it's a frequency. How are you working with this frequency and knowing? So your life is a canvas, okay? So the world, therefore, is a canvas. So what timeline are you tapping into, and what timeline are you trying to bring into fruition? Also, a lot of you are artists, a lot of you are working with your manifestation abilities, and a lot of you are taking creative accountability. So this is a huge responsibility. You know, once you find out, oh crap, you know, I'm the creator of my own reality. Am I wanting to trust source and trust the universe and let it unfold in the way that it should? Or am I fighting this creation? Am I fighting this creation, or am I letting it happen the way that they're channeling through me, letting me know it's meant to happen? Are you taking responsibility for this? Are you taking creative accountability for what you're creating? So a lot of it is surrender, but a lot of it is also control, where you're interjecting, right? But in a way to where your soul is leading you. So in a way that's still surrender. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense for you guys. Then the Lost Lands card, which I did go over, but this says, this was in the reverse, okay? And there's also this card that's in the reverse, and I went over that, but a lot of them want you to work with crystals. They want you to tap into your inner fiery passion, your inner knowledge, and go back to the source of source. Okay, so really do your research when it comes to ancestral sites. Look to the ancestral texts, look to the ancestral architecture, look to the ancestral symbols, because those unlock so many cups of potential for you, right? To where you can just pour this knowledge in more. And with this lost lands, I mean, I feel like connecting the dots is what we're doing. And when we discover one lost land, it leads us to another, right? Because at the time that we find that lost land is the perfect time for us to find it, right? And so each time that it happens, it's the perfect timing. I feel like more and more of these will be exposed to the surface. I feel like we'll be able to download the truth knowledge, not the distortion knowledge that's passed through his story, right? Which I hear people talk about all the time. The history, okay, which is like a game of telephone, and which is manipulated through those people's beliefs upon discovering these things. And then it's distorted. It's not authentic truth. There's some truth to it, but a lot of it is distortion, and a lot of it is hidden. Okay, it's hidden for a reason, to keep us from the knowledge of the power that we hold within, guys. So I feel like the more that we come across these lost lands, which it is accelerating, the time is accelerating. We're in this year of huge acceleration. Time is really speeding up in a sense, outside of linear time. But in linear time, it'll feel like this quickening, this acceleration, this knowing that like huge things are about to occur, the the turning point, the precipice, the peak of the mountain that we're about to reach here, the climax, right? So these lost lands will be discovered more and more and more. There's going to be a lot more brought to the surface, more and more and more. And this is also soul memories being remembered. These are your gifts being remembered, coming to the surface, really being understood as to why you're here, why you have these gifts, why you have these soul memories, okay? Not only of past lives, but future lives and all these alternate timelines that just run not only parallel but perpendicular and all over. So you've done this before, and it's this knowing that you've done this before, and it's this knowing of why you're here now is a huge message here. Why you're here now, okay? And most of you will already know this, and a lot of you will be coming across this understanding this year, especially this year, if not next year, but definitely this year is a huge turning point to the curve of the knowledge that one acquires within inside of themselves, the spiritual maturity of going in and seeking as to why you are here, and remembering and recalling as to why you are here during this time, because the light warrior, the star seeds, the awakening, the knowledge, the timelines that we are able to tap into. But you do have this knowing that you've done this before, and that's because you have done this before. And the reason that you hold these soul memories and gifts is because it's the perfect timing for you to have come across them, as it's the perfect timing to come across a lost land that we have in the past and even now. So that's a huge message. It's a lot of information. They're wanting me to pull a numerology card, so we'll pull one more card to complete the reading, and then this will complete the reading. This is probably one of the biggest, deepest readings that I've done in quite a while, and I knew it was going to be kind of big because I did have that realization the other night, but not so much with the reading. So your last card is self-love, and I feel like that's so perfect to go with this reading. Oh, and you have surrender. Two perfect cards to go with this reading, and if you look, we have 61 and 91. Okay, so definitely Google those numbers. We also have the orange, which has to do with the sacral chakra, which has to do with creativity and being the creator of your own reality. So it's really wanting you to love yourself, to tap into this knowledge, this wisdom, because you do love yourself, and surrender. It's asking you to surrender to all that is unfolding around you, inside of you, just everything that is going on, and really having full faith in the universe, and having full faith in divine intervention, and having full faith in source, and just surrendering to the mission, to the call, to the cause, and just loving yourself the whole time through. Because it is a lot that we are transmuting, it is a lot that we are dealing with, it is a lot that we are going through. So the more self-love you can have for yourself, the more love you can have for others, and to really surrender when it comes to not only just having the self-love for yourself, but also surrendering to all that is going on and playing out, and all that we're going into and integrating into. So I love you all so very much. Thank you so much for watching, and just know that you are loved. It's okay to surrender, and it's okay to love yourself. It's really important right now. Treasure your gifts. Know that life is your canvas, and know that we're doing a lot, not only physically, but energetically as well. And you are needed, and we've already won. Justice has prevailed. Justice will prevail. And tap into the timeline that you want to manifest the most, and it will be. I love you all so very much, and until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.